Oh, my God. Finally. Dead set. You're probably thinking, Buck, what are you doing on this screen? Wait for everyone to get over, guys. Technical issues, big time today. Friggin' hell. This screen nearly copped the fist through it just then. G'day, Nags. How are you, mate? Thanks for coming on. I think I'm supposed to be on a different screen or something, and I don't know. I was having all sorts of problems. I'll bloody explain soon. Dwayne Duffy, Lukey Reed, morning. Marky Lavelle, how are you, mate? Brent, Jennifer G, Logan, how are you? Wixie, yeah, I was supposed to be in the shed doing this, guys. I had Roz's iPad all set up, ready to go, and then I had troubles with the screen orientation, and I thought I'd fix that, and wouldn't let me go live on the laptop, so I thought I'm going to have to come back inside. So I came back inside and it wouldn't let me go live. Something to do with conflicting with I don't know what happened. But anyway, I'm here. I had to recreate a whole new live stream. And the first time I did it, it didn't work. It said, you're unable to go live. Well, here we go. I'm going to have to call this off. And I tried again and it worked. So morning, everyone. Righto, I'll have a sip of me brew. Let me blood pressure get down. Stop my left fist from shaking, and I'll be good to go. Ty, how are you, mate? Wixie saying good morning. Gonna do one day. Yeah, we should all have that name, mate. We're gonna do it, and we never get around to doing it, do we? Roy Smith. Marky's Parramatta beat the bye last night, everyone. Sound and picture all good. Thanks, Kevin. Jennifer down there in Bowen. Weather will be nice down there, Jennifer, at the moment. The heat's gone away now. It's still warm up here, guys, but it's nice. It's bearable. All that humidity's gone away for the year, thank God. Slacken, g'day, mate. How are you? Slacken's got me 5B5 up in Toronto, Canada, everyone. Hope you're well, Mark, you and the family. Hope everyone's well. Jimmy Nauman, good morning from Oakey. Bloody, she's cold out there, mate. Gidgey used to fix Kiowa helicopters out in Oakey, and he said you go out on the tarmac in the middle of winter, and he said you couldn't even feel your hands to try and bloody do a first parade on a Kiowa helicopter. He bloody, yeah, Ray, we'll talk about the Cowboys soon, mate. They went all right last night, didn't they? Steve's on from Sore Adventures. Steve and Annie, g'day, Steve. Morning, everyone. How's everyone going? Yeah. Love the blue shirt. Don't be a diddly donk. It's the Buckaroony shirt. Nothing to do with that shit team down in New South Wales. It's flogging down here at the Tea Gardens. Ty's down in Nelson's Bay area there, guys, down near Newcastle. Speaking of Newcastle, how bad are they going in the footy, everyone? Dear, oh dear, they've got some issues, haven't they? Nikki Slade's on. Nikki's saying it sure is. We're looking at the weather, so getting some rain down there. Tell you where they do need some rain is South Australia. Cam and Tiff are down in the Flinders Ranges at the moment. It looks like a beautiful, beautiful area, but my God, it's just a dust bowl, an absolute dust bowl down there in the Flinders. I think after some rain and that Flinders Ranges would be absolutely stunning, but it's just, yeah, it's yucky. It's just looks bloody terrible. I got some good news, everyone. There's a bloke in the chat room at the moment. He lives in Tasmania. We all know who he is. Guess what? Lukey Reed is booked in for the Camping with Mates this year, and he's booked in for 2026, the Legends for Charity down in Victoria. Lukey's coming across from Tassie again for both events, everyone. Good on you, Lukey. You're a bloody legend, mate. You know, that's no mean feat, everyone. You know, it might be a long way for us to drive. We're probably travelling further than Lukey, but let me tell you, that Spirit of Tasmania is not cheap, and it's not easy to get on. You've got to book well in advance, and I mean well in advance. Lukey's coming up for both camping events, guys. It's cost him a lot of money to get here. That Spirit of Tassie, for us to get across to Tassie and back a couple of years ago with the BT50 and the Sirocco, It was about $1,900, just under $2,000. That was with a caravan. Obviously, be a bit cheaper. Lukey hasn't got a caravan, everyone, but it's still not cheap. So well done, Lukey, for doing that, mate. It's not easy to get up from Tassie. It's not like you can just get on a bridge and drive over, is it? It's a 10-hour haul on the Spirit of Tassie. It's a good trip when it's smooth. We had a really smooth trip down during the day when we went across to Tassie. It's quite smooth, and we did the night trip home. And there was only once there where I kind of went, oh shit, that was a big wave. But the rest of the trip was a bit bumpier than the day trip. But apparently some Spirit of Tassie trips can get a bit hairy. The Bass Strait, she gets rough across there. So, but that Spirit of Tassie is, tell you what was good. Roz and I were sitting in the lounge. We got the lounge chairs, the recliners, and they're at the back of the ship. And you look out the back of the ship out to the ocean at night, and all you can see is lights, and you can see where the propellers are churning the water up because the spotlights. So you can see that. And about halfway across, saw some lights, and it was the other Spirit of Tasmania. We were heading north, and the other Spirit 2, was heading south. So, yeah, it was good seeing the Spirit of Tasmania. They cross each other, and we saw it during the day as well. Captain said, if you look out the left side, the port side now, you'll see the other Spirit 1 or Spirit 2. I can't remember which one we're on, but Spirit 1 and 2, both ships, and they just run full time, guys. Full time. There's supposed to be some new, bigger and better Spirit of Tasmania's coming, but there was a bit of a stuff up, and they all got built over in Norway or wherever, and then realised they were too big to fit in the docks or something in Tasmania. So once again, this country can't get simple shit right, everyone. We just cannot get simple stuff right. We've lost the plot to do things properly anymore. We really have. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about this morning. Some of it's a bit controversial too, guys. In relation to ANZAC Day, you all know what's coming up, eh? But it needs to be talked about, I think. Anyway, it is a touchy subject, guys, and me and Roz talked about it this morning, and we've got kind of different views on it in a way. Yeah, but I'm not as strong viewed as what some people are on it. But we'll talk about it later, eh? We'll get into that a little bit later. What are we going to be talking about this morning, everyone? Footy scores, ANZAC Day, positive and negative stuff on ANZAC Day. The big fella funeral last night, that dragged on like a wet week. I couldn't watch it. We'll talk about Pope Francis, his funeral last night, everyone. Oh, I've done it again, everyone. I've done it again. I'm going to have to get Roz to help me out on that. The ticket draw for the bloody unbelievable, Buck, you idiot. The ticket draw. I might need to get Roz in to help with that one. So we'll do that. I was going to write the names down on some paper, put them in a hat, and see who got the free tickets off Jean to go to that show. Bloody hell. Singing of the national anthem. Bloody ANZAC jerseys this year, I thought were a bit under par. We'll talk about that in the rugby league. I've just got out of the sin bin on YouTube. You'll be pleased to know I've been upsetting the Yanks. Oh, yeah. Another one there. That was bloody terrible. Talk about that. Texas school shootings. Yep, there's plenty to talk about, guys. A lot of it's positive, so hang in there. Righto, let's get into the footy scores. I'll get them out of the way first. So all you Aussie rules people, you're going to have to hang in there with me. So Thursday night, the Broncos bounce back, and the Dogs, Russ's Bulldogs guys, the Bull Grubs, they come back to earth with a thud. They've got about half the team. I've got to face the judiciary for head-eye tackles and all that type of stuff. We'll talk about that in a minute. Broncos 42, Bulldogs 18. That was the Doggies' first loss for the year, guys. So the Broncos bounced back well. They played really, really well. And they always seem to be playing at home, the Broncos. They must have a lot of away games later in the season, because I tell you what, they've been at home just about every game so far. And we've got Magic round. All games next weekend are all from Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. It's a really, really good round. Friday night, the Roosters. Roosters are coming good, guys. 46, Dragons 18. The Dragons should be doing better than they are. They've got some good players in that team. Sydney Roosters, 46. The New Zealand Warriors, guys, got up over the Knights. I know there's a lot of Newcastle supporters in Newcastle are not travelling very well at all, everyone. Another team that should be doing better than they are. Really, really struggling. The Knights. Storm bounced back against the Rabbits, 24-16. This is ANZAC round, everyone. This is the round for ANZAC Day. Last night, my team, guys, the Cowboys, we had a big win over the Titans. We went in 18-12 down, I think, at half time. Cowboys always come good in that second half. We need to sort out the start of our game. We need to sort out the first half. The second half, we seem to play really, really well. There's some good signs there for the Cowboys. That young Jackson Purdue out in the centres, he's going to be a good young player. We've got to hang on to that lad. So Cowboys 50, Gold Coast Titans 18. So big win over the Titans, I think, with 30-something unanswered points in the second half. Last night, Manly, Penrith, the four-time, champions from 4 years in a row. They lost a lot of good players, but they've still got another team. They'll bounce back. I'm still waiting for them to snap out of it. They did last week, but back to earth with a thud again this week. Manly 26, Panthers 10. And that was at Panthers' home ground, which is Parramatta at the moment. Their stadium's getting upgraded. So Penrith Panthers went down again, guys. Manly played really, really well. Daly Cherry Evans is playing good football, which is good for Queensland. He's going to be our halfback there. And Tommy Dearden, guys, for the Cowboys is playing good footy. So our halves combination. Yeah, I wonder I might do a poll. Who do you think's going to be the halves for New South Wales, everyone? All you cockroaches on there. I was talking to Russ last night. Russ said he'd put Cleary in at 7 and Mitch Moses at 6, which would be good. But then you leave Jerome Luai out. Do you put Luai in? So all you cockroaches on there, Marky Lavelle, who would you have in your halves there, guys? You wouldn't want to be the coach, eh? It's a hard decision. There's so many good players to pick from. It must be hard. But I think you'll find Daly Cherry Evans and Tommy Dearden will be the Queensland halves, all going well, as long as no one gets bloody injured, which is the last thing we need. And today, everyone, a couple of good games today for ANZAC Day. Canberra Raiders up against Roz's Dolphins. So we'll be watching that one. Roz doesn't mind. Roz used to live in Canberra for a long time. She used to work in Canberra when she was younger. I don't know how long she spent in Canberra, about 10 years or something. But, yeah, she used to like the Raiders back in the 90s when there's Brett Mullins and Bradley Clyde and Mal Meninga and Ricky Stewart, when the Raiders were a really, really good team. Them and the Bronx were the two big boys on the block back then, weren't they, in the 90s? So the Canberra's up against Roz's Dolphins. Roz has flipped over to the Dolphins, as we all know. So who had a really good win last week. And then the other game tonight is, or this afternoon, West Tigers up against the Sharkies. So that'll be a good game too. Go Tigers. I'll go the Tigers on that one. And I think hopefully the Dolphins will get up over Canberra. But that'll be a really good, tough game, I think. Canberra's at home. They're going to be tough to beat. So Parramatta had the bye. Marky Lavelle, they won that one, mate. Moses has to play. Yeah, he's good, isn't he? And we saw what he did last year in the State of Origin, mate. He was very, very good in the State of Origin. He's a good player. Mate, sorry. Yeah, Logan. I forgot about the Munster. Boy, oh boy. I forgot about bloody Cameron Munster. How do you leave Munster out of a team? You don't. Tommy Dearden, I think, will play 14. Sorry, Logan, I forgot about the Munster. Yeah, you can't leave Munster with his experience out of the Queensland team. So you'll probably find DCE and Munster, and I'd be bringing Tommy Dearden off the bench at number 14 and bring him on when the big fella start getting tired. Tommy's quick off the mark and can find a gap. So, yeah, mate. Logan, you're on the money there, mate. I forgot about the Munster. How did I forget about Munster? Too good to leave out of a team, that bloke. And he's playing good footy this year as well, isn't he? Harry Grant, another one who'll be in the Queensland team, all going well. And I'll tell you what, it was good last night. I was watching what game was it last night? A couple of players got pretty emotional during the national anthems, and it was good to see. And the ANZAC round, they played the New Zealand national anthem and the Australian national anthem on ANZAC round, which I think is very, very good. So they should, and they play the New Zealand national anthem at all the ANZAC round, all the ANZAC services, don't they? ANZAC, Australia, New Zealand Army Corps, we're one. When it comes to ANZAC, guys, Australia, New Zealand is one. And I could see some of the Kiwi players tearing up. It was good to see. It's good to see a bit of passion there. And it was probably the most I've ever seen the players sing their national anthems. It was good to see. Except Latrell. Latrell didn't sing. I was watching him. He didn't sing the national anthem. But I've never seen so many players sing their respective national anthems. It was really, really good. And I'll tell you what, I want to give a shout out to the whole of the NRL, and I'm sure the Aussie Rules does a very good job as well, guys, with the ANZAC round. But the one that stood out for me, and I might be a bit one-eyed, was the Cowboys. Go, Rob, how are you? Rob's on, guys. The one in Townsville last night. They do the ANZAC thing before the game. And Townsville, they call it the Garrison City, everyone, because it's the home of Australia's 3rd Brigade up there. I did a couple of stints with 3 Brigade, Laverack Barracks in Townsville. Big military town, guys. We've got big Air Force base there, and also one of Australia's brigades there, 3 Brigade. So it's a big military town, always has been. And I'll tell you what, they put on a wonderful ANZAC thing for the footy last night, the Cowboys and the Titans. I felt really proud of Townsville last night watching that. It was really well done. And I'll tell you what, there was a singer from the 1RAR band, the 1st Battalion, which is an infantry battalion, the 1RAR band. They're actually band corps members. They're part of the Australian Army, AABC, Australian Army Band Corps. So they're professional musicians, everyone. Australian Army Band Corps. They go in there, they learn how to play multiple instruments. Some of the girls in there, very, very good singers. And I noticed there was a couple of times there where a female corporal or whatever part of the band corps got up and they sang both national anthems. They were Aussie girls, but they sang the Kiwi national anthem in the Māori language as well at the start. So the Kiwi anthem, guys, is beautiful. It is a magnificent anthem. I love that national anthem in New Zealand. It's a beautiful anthem, and they sing it in Māori and also English, and it's just fantastic. I think the South African, they sing that in 3 different languages, the South African one, which is a good anthem as well. But well done to the Australian. Was it the Cowboys game or the one last night with the Panthers Sea Eagles game? There was a female bugler from the band corps. Oh, she did not miss a note. She was good. Nate, I don't know if Nathan's on. Nathan, did you see that? She was, and you'd expect that. That's their profession. They're professional musicians. She did not miss a note. Unbelievable on the bugle. Roz said, get on your bugle, Roger. I'll tell you what, I gave it a bit of a toot last night. I'm getting better. I haven't practiced it for ages. I am getting better. I want to learn how to play the last post, everyone. I might need Nathan Schilling to show me a few tricks. I might bring it down to the next camp up, Nathan, so you can show me a few tricks on that bugle there, everyone. You got to get the more you do it, the better you get. You got to get your lips feeling numb, and it seemed the notes seem to come out. But I'll tell you what, it's not easy. But well done. That Townsville one last night was fantastic. I was proud of Townsville. They put on a really, and you know what? The Townsville crowd, not a murmur. Not a murmur. Couldn't even hear a kid crying in the Townsville crowd last night. Really respectful, the way it should be. It was good. And both the Aussie Rules and the Rugby League do a fantastic job with ANZAC Day. Makes me proud as an ex-soldier and someone who loves rugby league. Really proud of that. I think it's really well done. One thing I didn't think was real good, I think their jerseys could have been better this year. I know a lot of the teams had a little bit of a rising sun badge and whatever. I don't think the jerseys were as good this year. Cowboys had a good one on last night. Newcastle had one, but really a third of the jersey was just all NIB, their sponsor, rather than the ANZAC theme. So Penrith's jersey looked quite good last night, didn't it? Their ANZAC jersey. Don't know what. I'm sure the Raiders. I'm hoping the Raiders have a nice ANZAC jersey today. And I'm not allowed to show his video, guys. A good mate of mine, Brett Dixon, Dicko, works for the Canberra Raiders. Has been for 20 years. Me and Dicko served in 2 different units together. We served at 1st Signal Regiment at Enoggera together. We walked Kokoda together. Me and Dicko, we walked Kokoda Trail together, or the Kokoda Track, whichever way you want to do it. And then we served over at the SAS Regiment together as well. Dicko's been overseas quite a few times as well, everyone. Works for the Canberra Raiders now. Dicko did a video, an ANZAC video last year for the Canberra Raiders, and he doesn't want me to show it anyone. I wish I've got it there. Maybe he'll let me show it to you one day. I tear up watching it. It's bloody brilliant. Anyway, the Canberra Raiders want Dicko to lead them out on the field today. Dicko said, I don't know if I want to lead the boys out. They've asked me to lead them out because he's a veteran, guys. Dicko's been overseas quite a few times. Went East Timor with 3 SAS Squadron. Been over to Western Sahara. Been to a few different places, and on peacekeeping and all that type of stuff. And the Canberra Raiders have asked Dicko to lead them out today onto the field. I said to Dicko, if you don't lead them out, mate, I'm getting on a plane. I'm going to fly down to Canberra. I'm going to knock you out. You lead the boys out today. So I hope if you see a lad leading the Canberra Raiders out today and he's got his medals on and some glasses, blonde hair, and he'll have a cap or whatever on, hopefully Dicko will lead the boys out today. He's you'll see him if he's out the front leading them on. And, that's a great touch from the Canberra Raiders, that one of their guys, Dicko does a lot of stuff for all the press, getting all their jerseys ready. He turns up to all their training sessions with the pads, and like he's like the QE, the stores guy. Make sure everything's there, everything they need on the side of the field, everything in the dressing room. He's been doing that for 20 years. Absolutely loves the job. Takes it really serious. And being a veteran, the Canberra Raiders, the boys, the footy players, want Dicko to lead them out on the field today. Absolutely fantastic, isn't it? Geez, I love that stuff. It's really good. So hope to see him out there. I'll be proud of him if I see him lead the Raiders out today. And hopefully one day he'll let me show you that video he did up. It's very, very good. Really good. Bloody proud to know the guy. I really am. Righto, off the footy. Now, let's get into this, and we won't go too deep into it. I'm going to do a poll, everyone. Start a poll. This is, what's coming, eh? I'll let you have a vote on it, and then we'll have a chat about it. How's me typing? Smoke off the keyboards, everyone. Tell you a funny story. I'm doing a witness statement when I was a copper. I'm doing a witness statement one day for a lady witnessed something, an assault or something. Anyway, I'm doing a witness statement and I'm typing with 2 fingers, the old, like a bloody cockatoo pecking on the keyboard, or a chook pecking, that old 2-finger. And the lady, she must have been a typist, and she goes, well, she must have been so frustrating watching me try to type this witness statement that she could have typed up in about 3 minutes. It took me 3 hours. And she said to me, would you like me to type it? She must have been a secretary or something and thought this copper had just go out and wrestle people in the street, will you? And leave the typing to the girls because you are useless. And I'll tell you what, I wasn't the slowest at the station. When I joined the coppers, you had to actually pass 25 words a minute typing. I cheated to get in. So I had to go to a typing school. And the lady said, this is the way you pass. She said, if you're a 2-finger typist and you can't look and type at the same time, you touch type, which I can't, she said, just memorize the page of a book. And then when you come in to do your test, like if I know what I'm typing, I was pretty quick. But if I had to look away from the keyboard, I was ratchet. So I memorized a page of a book and I went in and typed it. That's how I got into the coppers, everyone. I actually cheated. You don't have to pass a typing test to get in there anymore. And some of the young blokes that came in after me were useless. They might as well type with their elbows. They're absolutely useless. So should welcome the country be part of ANZAC Day? We saw an ugly incident happen in Melbourne, and it's been dominating the news here. Down in Melbourne, and I don't know if they did it anywhere else, but in Melbourne, what's his name? Uncle Bloody, I'll think of his name in a minute. The Indigenous guy that does all the Melbourne ones, all the football games and all that. He got up and did a welcome the country at the dawn service in Melbourne and said, "Welcome to my grandfather's land," or whatever. And as soon as he said that, a few people, not a lot, a couple of people in the crowd started booing and started yelling some stuff out, going, basically, we don't want to hear this. Today's about the ANZACs and all that type of stuff. And he got booed out. Now, should those people have booed? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And the country's divided on whether the welcome the country belongs in ANZAC service or not. Now, for you people out there who think welcome the country is black fellas getting up and saying to us white fellas, welcome to Australia. That is not, if that's what you think, you're wrong. That is not what it is about. And I've gone into this before. Welcome the country is, as you know, there are a lot of different Aboriginal tribes all around Australia. Okay. Here in Innisfail, they're called Mamu, M-A-M-U, Mamu people, the Mamu people. Out at Mount Isa, they're the Kalkadoon people. It's their part of Australia. Every tribe, every mob they call them, every tribe has got a different name. And you may know, I'm sure over in Canada, you've got all the different Native American or Indian tribes and all that. You know, it's the same here in Australia. The Aboriginal people have got their own tribes. Up in Arakoon, they were the Wikmunkin, and they had their own language, guys. That was their part of Australia. When you do a welcome the country, Uncle Colin, his name is, whatever the Aboriginal mob is in Melbourne, that was traditionally from the Melbourne area, something like 800 different tribes or whatever. Don't quote me on that number, but there was a lot of them all around Australia. He is welcoming you to his part of the land. And I'm going to give you a classic example of where I thought it was really, really good. Roz and I were on a camping trip once, and we were at a place called Springshaw down in central Queensland, out off the coast a bit. We pulled up at a rest area, and this Aboriginal guy came over. He was at the rest area, and he goes, "Hey guys, welcome to my part of the country." And he was really proud that he came from Springshaw, that area of Springshaw. He sat there for about 40 minutes explaining how his ancestors used to hunt. And there were some big hills and mountains and all that in the background. And he used to explain how they used to round up kangaroos and all that type when they hunted, and how they used the mountains to their advantage. I sat there for 40 minutes listening to him, telling me about how his ancestors hunted, and it was fantastic. And I think he used to take pride in his area, and he used to talk to tourists or, people at the rest area. He just walked up to us and said, "Hey, my name's someone, welcome to my part of the country," and gave us a spiel on how they used to hunt there. And it was really interesting. And I ended up getting the camera out and having a chat with him. I don't know if any of you saw that. It was really, really interesting. He was welcoming us to his little part of the country. He wasn't welcoming us to Australia. That's not what it's about. A lot of people out there think it's, "Oh, what do I need to be welcome to my own country?" They're not welcoming you to Australia, everyone. That's not what welcome the country is, okay? They're welcoming you to their little part of Australia, where they originate, where their ancestors originate from. So if you think they're welcoming you to Australia, you're wrong, okay? And you need to shut the you-know-what up when you start opening your mouth. I see so many, why do I need to be welcome to my own country? It's not what it's about, okay? Now, does it belong in ANZAC Day? Okay, and Pauline Hanson's been very outspoken about this, and a lot of other people on the news since ANZAC Day over the last 2 days. And I think it's pretty well general consensus. A lot of people are saying they don't think welcome the country. A lot of people are saying welcome to the country has its place. Okay, it has its place, and I'll tell you where I think it has its place. Does it have its place on ANZAC Day? A lot of people are saying no, not on ANZAC Day. And I believe that's what I believe as well. I don't think ANZAC Day, it should be brought in there. Okay. We're going to get on to some other touchy subjects after this too, which really I don't think has a lot to do with the welcome the country. Should people have booed when Uncle Colin got up and did his welcome the country? No, absolutely not. That is disrespectful. What should they have done? I'll tell you what those, and it was only a couple of them. Apparently, one of Sky News is saying he's some neo-Nazi. He's been done for doing the Heil Hitler salute and all that type of shit. We all know how putrid that shit is. I'm sure anyone who agrees with that shit probably doesn't belong on this channel, guys. So if you can believe Sky News, who are right-wing at the best of it, even they were condemning, and they said he's been done for in Melbourne. One of these guys who goes around doing the Hitler salutes and bloody dressing up in all black. You've seen him. There's a common denominator forming here, and I'll tell you what it is in a minute. You've seen those pieces of shit that go around in their black uniforms with their faces covered, the weak pieces of shit, doing the Heil Hitlers. Guess where it's happening? Melbourne. Would it happen anywhere else? No. It's Melbourne, the common denominator, where all this putrid shit happens. Okay? All the pro-Israeli, Palestinian protests and all. It's always Victoria, isn't it? And if there's any Vics on that I offend, I'm not taking it to you personally, guys. I think your state's got some big problems, and we saw it during COVID. That Victoria, tell you what, it's an embarrassment, that state sometimes. I just sit back and think, how do the Vics, no wonder they all come up here and live in Queensland to get away from that garbage. So those morons that run around in black uniforms doing the Heil Hitlers, I'll probably get banned for saying that on the thing, and covering their faces. Uncover your faces, you weak piece of shit. You know, like you want to go around and, you know, uncover your faces. How pathetic is that? Anyway, apparently he's one of those guys, and he was yelling out during the welcome the country and all that. ANZAC Day is not the place for that. And Pauline Hanson even said it. Like, no, you do not do that. If you disagree with it, Uncle Colin just didn't jump up on stage, everyone, and do the welcome the country because he wanted to do it. He was invited there to do that. Okay? He was invited there to do that by the Victorian RSL. So if you've got a problem with it, they should have gone to the Victorian RSL and lodged the complaint there. Okay? And I know a lot of veterans, a Channel 9 commentator, and there was a veteran there that said, I didn't agree with the booing, but I also didn't agree with the welcome the country on ANZAC at the dawn service. No, not the place for it. And I agree with him. But the booing in that was poor form. It was shit. And it was, whether you agree with it or not, you just sit there and just think to yourself, oh, all right, I'll take this further after the dawn service is over, or tomorrow or the next day, I'll take it up with the Victorian RSL. He didn't jump on stage and do that by himself. He was invited there to do it. Okay. Will he be there next year? I very much doubt it. I think a lot of people are very outspoken and say, no, not on ANZAC Day. 92% are saying no, 8% are saying yes. Okay, I'll let that poll go because it's a touchy subject, everyone. Is there a place for welcome the country in Australia? Absolutely there is. Every weekend at the footy? No, I don't think so. I think, I'll tell you where it will be used, and it should be, is the 2032 Olympics, where Indigenous people, that's where Indigenous people will be welcoming international people, and a lot of them, to our country. Absolutely we will. Indigenous way, and bloody, I don't know, what's the white fellow way too? Just welcome to Australia. Welcome to one of the best countries in the world, okay? But you can guarantee that whoever the Indigenous tribe is, or the original mob from Brisbane, they'll be doing a welcome to country for everyone, saying, welcome to our part of Australia. So that has definitely got its place. I think if you have a gathering and there's a lot of people, say there's a big sporting event in Western Australia, and there's teams coming from Queensland, from all the other states, Tasmania and all that. Is there a place for welcome to country at a big sporting event in Western, a big athletics carnival where teams are coming from all around? Absolutely there is. And the Indigenous people from that part of the world welcome people from different parts of Australia to their little traditional part of Australia where their ancestors originate from. Okay, it means a lot to the Indigenous people, everyone. Is it being overdone? Absolutely it is. I think it is. I think it's been done to death. There is a place for it, but that'll be the next poll. I think there is a place for it. I think they're just overdoing it now, which is why people are getting the shits with it. Keep it for special occasions, okay? And every weekend at the footy isn't a special occasion, everyone, okay? That's my belief. Some of you might think different. But if anyone's on here thinking, I don't need to be welcome to Australia, that's not what it's about. People have got no idea. I was talking to Ros this morning. We've got different views on it. And, a lot of Indigenous people fought. Ros read somewhere the other day that out of all the light horse regiments in World War I, there are 800 Indigenous light horsemen. I didn't know that. I knew there'd be a few. 800 Indigenous light horsemen that went over. We had a lot of light horse regiments in World War I, My granddad was part of the 5th Light Horse Regiment, was a Queensland regiment. There are 800 Indigenous light horsemen, Ros said to me the other day. I didn't know that. I know a lot of Indigenous people fought in Australian military uniforms. So don't think that they didn't. They did. And in during the Vietnam War, Buddy, my memory. Anyway, he was one of Gidgey's instructors over there. He was in the Battle of Long Tan, guys. And one of my bosses in the army, he's dead now. Bernie, my memory is just shot to pieces this morning. Anyway, he was a full-blood Aboriginal man. Good artist too. I'll think of his name in a minute. He was my SSM. When I was a corporal, he was a woe too. He's passed away now. Full-blood Aboriginal. I remember we're going up the exercise Kangaroo 92. We're driving through Katherine. I was driving the Land Rover and the SSM, full-blood Aboriginal man, sitting beside me. And we drove through Katherine in the Northern Territory, and there were just bodies littered along the streets, just drunk Aboriginal people. And I thought, have a go at this. Anyway, I didn't say anything. I was driving the Land Rover through, and I looked across, and I could see him he was shaking his head in disgust. And he was a full-blood Aboriginal man. He was our SSM, Sergeant Major, Warrant Officer Class 2. And I didn't say anything. I knew what he was thinking. I could see him shaking his head in disgust. So, yeah. But in World War I, when those Indigenous soldiers got back from the war, they weren't given a block of land and all that. I don't think they were even paid as much as what the white soldiers were paid. So you've got to dig into it a lot more, guys. You really do. So, but the welcome to country, 91%. Okay, let's finish the poll there. 91% say it shouldn't be an ANZAC Day. 8%, I don't know what the other. 67 of you voted. How many's on? Only half of you voted, guys. Or half of you. Just remember, your votes are anonymous here. No one knows who votes what. So these yes and no vote. Bernie Johnson. Pete, yeah, mate, sorry. Bernie Johnson. I was thinking of Bernie Fraser. I was thinking of Gary Fraser. Bernie Johnson. Yeah. Pete, I was in a land. We went through excess Kangaroo 92, going through Katherine, mate, in Northern Territory. And Bernie was shaking his head in disgust at what we saw. There's just littered drunk bodies all around the town. And Bernie was that day, I think he was disgusted to be Aboriginal. It was a shame, mate, because he was as you know, Pete, those who don't know, Pete Donlan and I were in the same army unit, and Bernie was our SSM, and he was a good man, Pete, wasn't he? He was a very, very good man. He's passed away now, Bernie Johnson. He was a real proud Aboriginal man, but a good soldier as well, and we all respected him. There was no bloody black and white in the army, guys. No one ever looked at him and go, "Oh, our boss is black." Everyone was green. There, and that was the good thing about when you become a soldier. When you're in the same uniform, everyone's green. There's no black and white or Asian or all that shit. You're all the same. No one's better than anyone else, and that's the way it should be. And it's very much that way in the army. I served with a few Indigenous boys in the army, and I tell you, they're all good lads. I served with a lot of Indigenous lads in corrections as well, and they're all bloody top blokes. You bloody have them beside you any day of the week. There were a lot of Indigenous boys, Torres Strait Islanders and Aboriginal boys in blue shirts. There's a lot of them in brown shirts as well, I know, but there's a lot of them in blue shirts as well, and it was good to see. And I'll tell you what, bloody, they were handy to have beside you when the knuckles were flying, let me tell you. So anyway, that was poor form, booing the welcome to country. I don't think it should be there next year. Was it on any other? It was in Melbourne. Apparently the Melbourne Storm, Ros was saying the Melbourne Storm were going to have some sort of welcome to country at the ANZAC football game, which was on ANZAC night against the Rabbits, and scrapped it at the last minute because of what happened at the dawn service. So were they welcome? The Brisbane one, I got up on ANZAC morning, watched the Brisbane dawn service, I think it was. I don't remember seeing it there. Was it at anywhere else? I'm just going to read the comments for a minute. Were there welcome to countries at any of the other dawn services, everyone? Did anyone go to a dawn service and there was a welcome to country there? Let's hope if there was, it certainly wasn't booed like down in Victoria, down in Melbourne. Those blokes, I know there's probably some veterans there going, "Oh, no, not on ANZAC morning," but they kept their mouth shut. That guy there was only two of them that I saw that were yelling out. Look at Arakoon shit show. Yeah, I know, mate. I was a copper up in Arakoon. I know how bad that community is. I know. I've seen it firsthand in Arakoon. Absolutely. Though I remember Rio Tinto came to Arakoon once trying to recruit people to go and work up at Weeper. Couldn't get anyone because they sit back and they get the royalties without working. I know where you're going with that one, mate. Yeah, I'm all for them getting royalties, but, go and work for it. Don't just handouts. You can't, I'm not just talking Aboriginal people now, I'm talking everyone. Keep giving people handouts, guys. They'll just keep taking advantage of it. Give people a helping hand up, not handouts. That's the old saying, isn't it? And that goes for, doesn't matter what colour skin you got. You're getting handouts, and I see a lot of useless white people around my town here that have been on Centrelink all their life. Like, come on. Give them a hand up, not a hand out, because they'll just keep holding their hand out while they continue to get money for nothing. They'll keep doing. The booing happened in Western Australia also. Paulie Martini saying, "I didn't see that, Paul. I've only seen the Melbourne one. I only saw the Melbourne one." So there was take all the fun. Yeah. I know, mate. I know. And it gets, a lot of the money doesn't get down to the people at the bottom, doesn't it? All these people scooping it off the top. I'm going to give you another story about Welcome to Country. Remember when I ran the Drifter Fans camping event at Lake Tinaroo 5 or 6 years ago now? It was a while ago. Wonderful event. Great camping event. Few of you here may have come up to it. Lake Tinaroo up inland from there. It was a really good event, that. And this is where I was saying before. There were people coming up. Pete Mack come over from West Aussie. There were people coming up from New South Wales, Victoria. A lot of people travelled a long way to come to that camping event. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to organise a welcome the country, because people are coming from interstate to my little part of the North Queensland. And I thought, wouldn't it be a good touch to get the local Indigenous mob up at Tinaroo to do a welcome and welcome everyone from interstate to whatever country, not Marmoo and not Kalkadoon, whatever the local Indigenous tribe is around the Atherton Tablelands. So I finally got onto a mob up there, an Indigenous lady, and said, do you do welcome the countries? I'd love to. I'm doing run. I told her what it was, running a big camping event for charity, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. We can come out and, and I said, yeah, we'll come out on the Saturday night or the Friday night, do a welcome the country for everyone. And I said, stay around and there'll be a good feed on. And there was, the dreaded chef was cooking at that event. I said, stay for a good feed and all that type of stuff. And you know what? When it come to the crunch, it was like, how much do we get paid? I said, you're not getting paid. I said, this is a charity event. I just want to involve Indigenous people and welcome, because I told them how people were coming from Victoria and Western Australia and bloody New South Wales and South Queensland and all that. As soon as they heard there was no money involved, crickets. Never heard from them again. So I thought, stick it in your ass. If that's the way you want to be, trying to run a charity event, trying to get you involved, and all they were worried about was the money. So that's my experience with Welcome the Country. She was all about the money, that one, and it was disappointing. I think it would have been good, and I think anyone who came to that event would have loved us, just before we do the big welcome and all that, have a bit of a, I wanted to put a bit of an Indigenous flavour in there, because North Queensland has a large Indigenous population, everyone. Aboriginal, and as you know, a lot of Torres Strait Islanders. You go to Cairns, you see Torres Strait Islanders everywhere. They're not just up in the Torres Strait. All right, North Queensland, a lot of Torres Strait Islanders. And so that was disappointing. It really was. But that welcome the country, everyone. If you think you're being welcomed to Australia, that's not what it's about. During the Olympics, it probably will be, because there'll be so many international people here. But when you get welcomed to somewhere, they're welcoming you to their little part of Australia. So, but I don't think it belongs on ANZAC Day. I think leave it out of ANZAC Day. We don't need to do it every weekend at the football. It's just getting done to death, and I think that's why people are getting the shits with it. It's becoming old Uncle Colin. It's the same bloke down in Victoria that does them all. He'd be getting paid to do all that stuff, no doubt. But if you've got a problem with it, don't take it out on him. Take it out on the Victorian RSL, or if it happened in Western Australia, go and see the Western Australia RSL and protest there and say, I don't agree with it, and your reasons why. Okay? It doesn't belong on ANZAC Day. And 91% said it doesn't belong on ANZAC Day. We can whinge all we want on social media, everyone. Go into your local RSL. If your local RSL had a welcome the country, go in and go into the RSL and say, where's the president? Where's the president of this branch of the RSL? I want to make a complaint. And don't just go in and go, oh, this is bullshit. Give them your reasons why. So go into the RSLs and protest in there. And maybe next year they won't run one. Russ Longson on. The story there, Buck, highlights my personal view 100%. Yeah, okay, Russ, that's good. That's the way I see it. My first hand, I tried to have a welcome the country. I thought it would have been a good touch on the Tinaroo camping event, because I had so many people coming from all around the place, up to my little part of far North Queensland, and the old Indigenous mob. As soon as I said there's no money involved, I didn't hear from them again. She was crickets. And I'm like, all right, that's how it is, eh? No worries. So there we go. We'll get off that thing. It is a touchy subject. I thought the person who summed it up the best, Pauline Hanson, everyone. And everyone thought Pauline will be on there. And she wasn't rubbish in Welcome the Country at all. She was very, very anti-booing it. She said it's not on. But she said, I don't think it belongs on ANZAC Day either. But Pauline was very, very disappointed with the booing. She said, how dare they disrespect ANZAC Day like that? Having a welcome the country isn't disrespecting ANZAC Day. If you think it is, that's where you go to the RSL and go, no, come on, guys, not on Anzac Day. This is all about the Anzacs, whether you're white or black. It's leave it out. But yeah, Pauline was very, very anti-booing. So am I, and I think so are probably the majority. Here we go. Another poll. Start a poll. Now, remember, when you vote, everyone, it's anonymous. No one knows whether you're a redneck or not. All right? That was a joke. No one knows what you was. W. Start a sentence with a capital Buck. Was the booing justified? Well, I've already told you my thing. I don't think it was. If anyone thinks it was justified, put it down. It'll be anonymous. No one knows what you voted. But we'll see how we go. Let's run this poll. I thought it was poor form. And this is it. This is why I run these live feeds. I think a lot of you out there probably think the way I do, but as we know, as soon as, there are people in the community that will say things. If they don't agree with me, they do say, and I appreciate that. Aussie's one of them. When I start rubbish and Trumpy, Aussie's up me. And who's the other one? Not Graham Whittaker. He gets up me sometimes, Graham. My memory this morning is terrible. I think I need another coffee, Roz, that's cold. I've run out of sugar. I've been trying to drink coffee without sugar. I've got to have at least half a teaspoon in there. Agree, Buck, about being done to death. Yes, yeah, I'm going to say the same thing. I might offend Pete McMurtry and some Kiwis. I think the Harker's getting done to death as well. The Harker used to be brilliant. I used to love watching it. I went and watched an All Blacks game once and seeing the Harker. It was brilliant, but it seems to be now they do a Harker for everything. They go to make a cup of tea, they'll do a Harker before they make a cup of tea. I'm being silly there, but yeah, the Harker's another one. It's another one. Speaking of the Kiwis too, did anyone watch the dawn service over in Turkey? They started it off with a Kiwi soldier doing the big blow through a big shell, right? Like a Māori. It's not Maori. I say Maori. It's Māori. A Māori traditional thing. So the Kiwis do a traditional Māori thing during dawn services as well. So there's something to think about as well. You can guarantee that with someone at a Kiwi dawn service, I'm sure there would have been something Māori involved. Okay, very proud people, the Māoris. I'm sure that their dawn service, and they started the Gallipoli one off with a Māori blowing into the shell, okay, which is a Māori thing. But as soon as we do some sort of Indigenous thing, we've got our balls in an uproar. So that's another thing to look at too. The Māoris do it. Maybe the welcome to the country is a little bit different to maybe if an Indigenous soldier got up. And I'll tell you where it did happen once is the 100th anniversary of the charge of Beersheba, which was in Palestine at the time. It's now modern-day Israel. My grandfather fought over there, not at Beersheba. He was around the area. He wasn't in the actual attack of Beersheba. 5th Light Horse weren't involved in that one. But he was certainly over there at the time, somewhere near there. David Hudson, brilliant Indigenous didgeridoo player. He went over there and they started off that service with David Hudson with the didgeridoo at the 100th anniversary of at Beersheba itself, guys, at the memorial there for the attack of Beersheba, where the light horse took back the town of Beersheba. The British have been trying to take it for weeks. They were all running out of water. They sent the Aussie light horse in, 31st of October, 1917. And the light horse took it. 2 regiments, the 4th and the 12th, I think. Don't quote me on that. And they bloody took Beersheba. Unbelievable. One of the best charges in history. They weren't cavalry. They were mounted infantry, the light horse. They weren't cavalry. They were bloody mounted infantry. with a 303 and a bayonet. That's how they went in, and they took the Turkish trenches, and they took that town. Incredible. And when they had the 100th anniversary, they started it off at dawn. David Hudson playing the didgeridoo, and it was haunting, guy. It was brilliant. So I think there is a place for Indigenous stuff at dawn services. Well, not a welcome the country. Let's piss that off, but we can recognise our Indigenous soldiers. A lot of Indigenous people have fought in uniform. Let's remember that, guys. And when they got back, they didn't get they didn't get the land grants and all that type of stuff like white soldiers got. Apparently, they weren't even paid the same, which is disgraceful. They'd go over there and take a bullet like a white soldier, but weren't paid the same amount of money. So, that's going down a different rabbit hole. We can talk about that another time. There is a place for Indigenous stuff at dawn services, but not welcome to country. I think the didgeridoo on that, the Māoris do it. Jennifer G saying, well said. Me Aussie accent's strong. Pete, what are you? Pete's on, guy. Pete's a pakia or whatever they're called, a white Kiwi. And I'll tell you now, this is my other observation. White Kiwis are a lot more proud of Māori culture than what white Aussies are of Aboriginal culture. People will probably throw shit at their computer over that statement. That's the way I see it. I wish Australians were as proud of our Indigenous culture as the Pakias or whatever they're called over there are of their Māori culture. I think the Kiwis do it so much better than us. They shit all over us when it comes to that. And a lot of people, I know what I can hear you throwing shit at your keyboards and your computers now, going, there's a reason we don't respect Indigenous culture because we see so much negative stuff. And I get it, guys. I get it. I've been a copper. I've been a prison officer. I get it. I know where you're coming from. And I'm the same. I'm disgusted with them as well when they behave like that. But there's a lot of good ones out there too. And I'm proud of when they get up and, at the Olympics and you see, and we'll see it in 2032, Indigenous people up there, Torres Strait Islanders dancing, Aboriginals, the didgeridoos and that. I feel proud of that. They're representing Australia in a really positive way. And there should be more of that, I think. But I know there's a lot of other negative stuff that's with, well, there, Brenny Neal said, I'm 1% Māori and proud of it. So you should be, Brent. And I think even Pete's a mixture. Okay, so Pete has got Māori in him. I didn't know that, Pete. I thought you were a Pakia, mate. So, but I know a lot of white Kiwi lads. I know a lot of white Kiwi. I played rugby with a lot of white Kiwis, Big Duncan and Richard and all them. And they are so proud to get up and do the haka. Even the white Kiwis, the Pakias get up and do the haka and all that type of stuff. You don't see white Aussies getting up doing all that, I just think the Kiwis do it a lot better than us. And I think there is a place for Aboriginal, the didgeridoo and a bit of that type of stuff at dawn services. I'd love to see it incorporated. I think there's a better way we can do it than a friggin' welcome the country. And as I said, the one in Turkey 2 days ago, the dawn service in Turkey where it all happened, all right, the 25th of April, 1915 is why we commemorate ANZAC Day, guys. The Aussies, the Kiwis, the Sikhs, the Indians, the Gurkhas, the Poms. Who else were there? Was another mob over all stormed the shore. It wasn't just the Aussies and Kiwis. We're in the thick of it, no doubt about that. The haka's been around for every but is only a new thing because there's money involved. Yeah, I just, Pete, what's your thoughts? Someone said it before, the haka's been done to death now and it's losing its effectiveness. I think welcome the country. I'll put them, I know the haka means a lot, but it used to be every now and then you'd see the haka. Now it seems to be there's a haka for everything. The best one I've ever seen is when 3 dead Kiwi soldiers, one of them was a female from memory, came back from Afghanistan. And I'll put it up on my Facebook page, everyone. This is the best haka I've ever seen. and it was one of the Kiwi infantry battalions doing it was either a farewell haka for their 3 fallen comrades. Oh, it's emotional. You should see it. I'll put it up on my Facebook. Pete, have you seen that one where one of the Kiwi infantry battalions, all in their service dress uniform, some of them were in their sniper, yowie sniper out, and the 3 dead soldiers coming through in the hearses, and the whole battalion doing the haka. Oh, geez, that gets the blood going. I'm not even a Kiwi, and I was just so proud of that. I'll put it up, guys. That was the best haka I've ever seen. Unbelievable. The haka's been, Pete said, there you go, that's from a Kiwi, guys. The haka has been commercialised for profit. And unfortunately, I think Welcome the Country's gone the same way. Right, let's get on to a different subject. It's it's a touchy subject, that, but I think it needs to be talked about, everyone. I think it needs to be talked about. But hey, listen, if you're out there, you're a bit of a redneck, don't be try and be proud of our Indigenous culture. There's a lot of good stuff out there. There's a lot of good stuff. I've worked with some really, really good Indigenous guys in the army, in the police, and in corrections. Some of the best. And anyone who sits back there and think, oh, Indigenous people are useless, you're going right down the wrong rabbit hole there, guys. My Roz's Torres Strait, you should see her family, guys. It's a big family. Let me tell you, it is massive family, and they're good people, absolutely cracking people. They really are. So anyway, I do get the and Roz has seen it. Roz has seen some racist stuff come up on the live feeds, and she said, "Did you see that?" I said, "No, I don't see all the comments and that." So, yeah, be careful. You've got to be careful what you say, guys. There's just don't be totally negative against it, okay? Righto. Pope Francis's funeral last night, guys. I watched about 20 minutes of it, and it was the same singing when they were bringing his coffin in. And they must have embalmed his body too, by the way. He's been dead for a week now, and he's still got his open coffin and that. So they obviously embalmed him so he doesn't go smelly. Has anyone here smelt a dead human body? It's not pleasant, let me tell you. Was the booing justified? 27% said yes. Wow, that's higher than I thought, guys. I disagree with that 27%. I don't think there's any justification for booing anything on ANZAC Day. I think it was disgraceful. I think it was absolutely disgraceful. I was going to do another poll then, and I forget what it was. Yeah, last night, just they're bringing his coffin in. I'll tell you what, there was about 12 pallbearers, and a couple of them were big, fat, unfit guys. And I saw what they carried his body. He must have been a bit heavy, but there were 12 pallbearers, and a couple of them were struggling towards the end. They were sucking the big ones in. They should put the camera up on the pallbearers, and some of them looked like they were about to bloody collapse. So anyway, I just thought they dragged on a bit as Catholic. Anyone been to a church in the Catholic Church? It's like, when is this going to end? They do drag things on. And this is going to be, I'm a Roman Catholic, everyone. Well, not a good one. And this is a terrible thing to say. I'm going to say it. And for any Roman Catholics out there, probably going to unsubscribe from my channel when I say this. I was watching that last night with all the bishops and priests and all that there. And this is a horrible thing to think, and I shouldn't be thinking it. I just watching them thinking, how many filthy pedophiles are there in amongst all you mob? And you know what? When the Catholic Church was going down for all the pedophilia stuff there years ago, I was going to go and change my religion. I was that disgusted in the Catholic Church. I was that disgusted, I was going to change my religion. And I thought I was going to go Anglican or something, just something. So I wasn't associated with the Catholic Church. And there's a lot of things the Catholic Church believe in that I do not believe in. That's just the way I was brought up. I went to a few Catholic schools as a kid. I don't go to church anymore, guys. I'm not religious anymore. I still like to think myself as a Christian, but I don't practice religion like a lot of yous out there. But it's a horrible. I was sitting there last night thinking, How many filthy pedophiles are out there in amongst all those priests and shit? That's a bad thing to think, isn't it? But they brought it on themselves, the Catholic Church. They brought it on themselves. And I know that the Pope Francis, was quite probably not outspoken enough about pedophilia in the Catholic Church. He should have been drumming that home. Anyway, and this is the other thing. It's shocking. Hey, Mike, how are you, mate? Bloody Catholic Church. Here we go. Another poll. Start a poll. This is a good one. Should Catholic priests be able to marry? Should Catholic priests be able to marry? I hope I spelled everything right there. My eyes are a bit wonky. I think they should. Catholic priests can't. They go in and become Catholic priests. They're not allowed to have a relationship with a female. They're not allowed to marry and that. And then they turn to pedophilia. Not all of them, guys. Don't get me wrong. Then a lot of them turn into pedophilia. How's that religious? Hopefully, if there's a God and when they pass away, they go south instead of north for that. How, like a Church of England or an Anglican Presbyterian minister, they're allowed to lead a normal life. They're allowed to get married. They're allowed to have kids. They go out and do everything we do. It's just that their job, they wear a little collar around their neck and they run church services. Why can't Catholic priests do that? Why do Catholic priests have to be, and nuns are another one? Like, come on. They're still human beings. Human beings need, it's just the way we're made. Like, whether you're gay marriages and all, leave all that shit out of it. But you know what I mean? When you're growing up, you become a teenager, you get a girlfriend and you go on and get married and you have kids and that. Why can't Catholic priests do that? It's just the natural human thing to do, isn't it? Humans like to be with a partner. That's just the way we're wired. People have been divorced, probably think, I like being divorced and being by myself. But at some stage of your life, when you go through, you meet someone, you get married, you have kids. A lot of us have probably been through that. Why can't Catholic priests do the same thing? This no contraception, that's another bullshit rule of theirs. You know, where people dying from AIDS, and some of them were probably having unprotected, in homosexual, well, not just homosexual relationships, but anything. Over in Africa, people getting AIDS. And they're probably Roman Catholic beliefs. I'm not allowed to wear a condom because I'm a Roman Catholic. Next thing they get AIDS. How's that benefiting anyone? The Catholic Church needs to get up with the times. And they said Pope Francis was trying to get the Catholic Church up with the times. No, not enough. But they're just so set in their ways, the Catholic Church. They really are. Pedophilia, that just turned me off that whole church. There's no place for it at all. And I was disgusted to even have RC on my army dog tags, Roman Catholic on my army dog tags. I was going to stamp them out. I was that disgusted to be a Roman Catholic, guys, when all the pedophilia shit was going on. Cardinal George Pell went down. The Aussie guy, he was going down for it too. He's dead now. Whether he was guilty or not, I do not know. But there was a lot of evidence against him. You're not allowed to. I used to see it in the prison. You see a lot of the pedophiles were in, and used to think, I know why he's a pedophile, because no female would probably go near him because they're a bit, retarded or whatever, and they turn to pedophilia and that. Maybe that's the same thing with the Catholic Church. Dear oh dear. What's your thing? Marky Lavelle, you're a Catholic. They should allow priests to marry like Anglicans. Yeah, exactly right. I think Mark's from a Catholic family. And happy birthday to Marky Lavelle's sister, who was 60 last night. She's a couple of months older than me. One of Mark's sisters, 65 vintage she was. So happy birthday to your sister, Mark, for last night. So, yeah, I think so. 96% are saying Catholic priests should be allowed to marry. I think so too, guys. I think so. Maybe if they're allowed to marry and have a a normal life. You can still study your religion. You can still be faithful to your religion and still be married and all that. That's what Anglican priests do, and Presbyterian priests, and Greek Orthodox priests, and all that type of stuff. Lead a normal life, but still lead your faith. You can still. No one would. I think a lot of people would respect a Catholic priest better if he had a wife and kids, and they know what people are going through in confession and all that type of stuff. Yeah, I think so. I'm looking forward to seeing watching this back, everyone, and seeing a lot of the comments. So, hey, Rosie, you watching this? Can you come in if you're watching? I need you to do something for me. Dear oh dear. I need to get some names into a hat. I've got to draw some names out of a hat, guys, and I think I might need Roz's. I think she heard me. She's coming in. Let's go, Mr. Buckaroony. I've got to get some names here, guys, who put their names down to get these free tickets off Jan. I forgot yet again. I forgot again. Oh, come on, Wiz. I'll do it later. I'll come on the sale. I'll do a 5-minute live feed. And that's what I'll do. Anyone who went in that draw, I'm going to put the names in a hat, do another live feed this afternoon for 5 minutes, do the draw, and then arrange the tickets to go out because I forgot to do it. That's another thing I forgot. The ticket draw. I even had it written down and I forgot to do it. Unbelievable. Now, another one here. Let's get off the priest thing. Andrew Hastie is the shadow defence minister here in Australia, guys. For those who don't know the guy, he did time in the Australian Army. He was an officer, an infantry officer, and then he went over and did the SAS selection and passed. And let me tell you, not many men get through that selection course. I've seen some tough people go on that course and fail it. It's a 3-week course. That's just the start of it, guys. You've got to get through the 3-day pre-selection. Then you go on a 21-day selection course. Then you have to do the basic parachute course, static line parachute course. Then you have to do a 6-week patrol course. And then you have to do either a patrol medic or a patrol SIGs course for 6 weeks. If you pass all that, you get a Sandy beret on your head, the SAS beret. And then to get to a Sabre squadron and become a fully fledged bloody special forces soldier, they have 12 to 18 months of follow-up courses. And if they fail one of those, they're out of the regiment. I'm talking about close quarter combat courses, method of entry courses. Then they have to do an insurgency skill. It's either mobility, water operator, like Navy. We don't have Navy SEALs here. Mobility, water operator, or free fall parachute course. They have to do that. And then about 12 months of back-to-back hard courses to get through. But I've seen hundreds of people go on that selection course, and at the end there'll be about 10 standing. It has got a very, very low percentage rate of people who pass that. And the officers get it worse than what the soldiers do. The officers get put through a lot more stuff. So when the soldiers are sleeping for about 30 minutes a night, that's about all they get. The officers will be up writing patrol orders or attack orders or writing an essay on something. There's just no sleep at all for 3 weeks. It's just ridiculous, working them under pressure. It's a tough course, guys, the SA Select. Don't think it's anything like what you saw on TV with the celebrities. It's nothing like that, okay? I've seen some tough men go on that course and come back after 4 days going, it's too good for me. So Andrew Hastie passed that course, got the beret on his head, went through all the training. He's been through a lot, guys. And he got attacked by the media the other day because he made a statement a while ago saying women should be in special forces. Well, he's on the money there. There are no females in the SAS. There are females posted to the SAS regiment in support roles, which is like what I was. I was there in a support role at the regiment. I wasn't in the SAS. I was posted to the unit. Used to wear the badge, but I didn't wear the Sandy beret. Okay, and there's female medics, female clerks, female drivers. lot of support staff over there, but they let those guys that go out and do what they Ben Roberts-Smith and all these type of guys who went to Afghanistan. So the media's attacking him the other day because they're going, you said females can't be in special force. And here's these reporters getting up Andrew Hastie because he said years ago that females shouldn't be in special forces or in a combat role, infantry, artillery, armoured corps, and all that type of stuff. He made that statement. He's been there and done that. They attacked him the other day. The LNP's thing on is that females can go to infantry, they can go to special forces, but you've got to pass the course. And I don't know a female in Australia that would even go close to passing the SAS course. There are no it's like one of the NRLW girls going up and playing a game of men's footy in the NRL. They'd last 30 seconds. First tackle, they'd be gone. They'd be off the field. There's no females that would pass the SA selection course. Andrew Hastie's he knows what it takes to get through that course. And the reporters, they're going, females can't be part of special forces. And what he's saying now, yes, they can if they meet the standards. And I know in the American Army that there's female rangers and all that now. And why are they in there? Because they lower the standards. They don't keep the same high standards. It's happened in the Australian Army. The standards have dropped through everything from basic training. I know a lot of young lads are in infantry. There's females in infantry now. And they said they lower the standards, mate. That's how they get in. They lower the standards. And I saw it happening when I was in the Army. When I was in the Army, females weren't allowed to go into a field unit at all. Even in Signals Corps, you couldn't go to a field unit. It was just all blokes. Then in 1991, they said females are going to start going to field units. In they came, the standards dropped. Some of the girls were very, very good. Don't get me wrong. But they dropped the standard. They've got lesser standards than what the blokes have got. Andrew Hastie should have bitten back harder than what he did. He was a bit hesitant. I know what was going through his mind, and all those female reporters that haven't even been in the Army are grilling him on, how dare you say females can't be in special forces? They don't even know what it takes to get through that. Hastie's been through that SA selection course. Any ex-military, Pete Donlan, yeah, it's a bit different to G.I. Jane, guys. Have you seen that movie? It is the biggest load of shit you've ever seen, okay? G.I. Jane doesn't exist in real life. There are no G.I. Janes that would get through the first day of the SA selection course. And Andrew Hastie knows that. The media are into him at the moment. He needs to, if that was me, I would have bloody sat him on their ass and say, righto, come on, next selection course, bitch, and old mate here, we're going to throw a pack on your back and see if you can get through the first day of the SA selection course. They wouldn't last half an hour. I talked about the Kiwi anthem, didn't I? That's a beautiful national anthem. It really is. Geez, that's a good anthem. Don't tell the Kiwis I said that, but it is. It's a beautiful national anthem. I really like it. We've talked about that. Not going to even go on. Singing of the anthem, I think it was better this year. A lot of the players, I saw Murray Talangi and guys like that singing the national anthem, the Kiwi national anthem. A lot more of the footy players. Let me know what you think. I take note of that. There was a lot more mouths moving this year during the national anthem for both anthems. I think it was a good thing. There was some players there that weren't. They were probably concentrating on the game. There's nothing saying you have to sing the national anthem. I just think it's a good touch. I know in the Rabbits and Storm, Craig Bellamy was singing, and Wayne Bennett both sung the national anthem. Both the coaches were singing, and a lot of the players were as well, except Latrell. What's wrong with that guy? Dead set. At least just try and make an effort, Latrell. It's not hard. A lot of the Marty boys are bloody singing their national anthem with pride. You know? And people go, there should be Aboriginal. Well, there is no Aboriginal language. There's about 800 of them. How do you put that into a bloody nationally have Aboriginal language in the Australian national anthem? You can't. There's 800 different languages, so it doesn't work. Where if you've got one Māori language, and that's why they do it. And I think it's a good touch. The first half sung in Māori, and then the second half sung in English. It's really, really good. I just got out of the sin bin, you'll be pleased to know, everyone, on YouTube. Now, Facebook used to bin me all the time. I'm getting binned by YouTube now because Mike Blakely, you blokes are stirring me up. It's the Yanks' fault, everyone. I'm on, as you know, I follow a lot of war stuff and Australian defence stuff and all that type of stuff. And I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about the defence of my country. And it's lacking. It is very lacking at the moment. And I'm sick of Yanks getting on there saying, you can't defend your country. You're not even allowed to own weapons. It's like I've been biting back. And I've been put in the bin about 3 times now because I'm sick of Americans coming on saying, hey, Aussies not even, how are you supposed to defend your country if you can't own a gun? Like, we defend this country with the Australian Defence Force, Army, Navy and Air Force. You don't defend your country with an AR-15 guys out of your back, off the back porch of your house, all right? We need to boost our, I don't know, they all seem to think, as you know, if you're Australian, you can't own a gun in this country, but you're not allowed to own a semi-automatic rifle, and I agree with that. But I just say, so I've been telling them, a few of them, to shut their mouths and calling them a few unsavoury names, and it's ended me up in YouTube thing. So, and where I'm going with that one, the other day, yet another school shooting in America, and I wonder why we're not allowed to have, mind you, it wasn't with a semi-automatic rifle, it was with a pistol, probably a Glock or something, 40 cal. It was a 40 caliber, so it was probably a 40 cal Glock, model 22 Glock. He went into a school. He was looking for someone. It was gang related. He was a black guy, black African American guy, and it was gang related. And he was looking for a certain person at that school. Couldn't find him, so he shot a teacher and 3 students. Luckily, they didn't die, but they showed some footage. There was a young black girl that I think had already been wounded, and he came up, and she was just sitting on the floor of the hallway of the school, like going backwards on her bum and trying to get away from him. He had a stoppage with a pistol, and you saw him do the old tap rack. He pointed the gun at her, and it didn't go off. He tried to kill her. It didn't go off, and then he panicked and ran off, and this girl ran off into a room. So luckily the gun had a malfunction, and the dipshit didn't know how to fix the malfunction properly, okay, because he's probably just, how a 17-year-old gets a hold of a gun, I don't know, but he did. And that young girl, boy, oh boy, if that gun went off, she's dead. It was point-blank range and the gun malfunction. So that's why we have strict gun laws, Mike, in this country, because we don't want shit like that happening here. It happened in 1996 at a place called Port Arthur, where some arsehole murdered 35 people with an AR-15, the exact weapon he used, and that's why we lost our semi-autos. The same thing happened in New Zealand, in Christchurch, remember? When he was an Australian guy again, murdered 50 Muslims at a mosque with an AR-15, and the Kiwis lost their semi-autos thanks to some lunatic Australian that went over there and had a problem. And people are saying he probably did it in New Zealand rather than Australia because he couldn't get his hands on an AR-15 here. So he went over to New Zealand and did it. And that's why both countries have lost our weapons, because we don't want shit like that happening ever again here. So anyway, now, here's another one. I don't know where this happened. There was an 18-year-old Aboriginal lad. It doesn't matter if he's Aboriginal or not, really, but he was. He stabbed a 71-year-old store owner to death. I don't know where it was. Where was that? Help me out, everyone. This is only a recent event. He was on bail for sexual assault charges or rape charges on a kid. And he was on bail. While he's on bail, he's gone and murdered someone. Come on. We got our justice system sucks, guys. Our judges and our magistrates are as weak as piss. We need to, and if I was the Prime Minister, I'd be saying, righto, we're going to go to one criminal code, and here it is, the Commonwealth Criminal Code. We're going to work off this, and then we're going to have one Penalties and Sentences Act for the whole country. We're going to work off the same sheet of music. And anyone who's in for a serious crime like rape or a bloody manslaughter, something like that, you don't get out on bail, especially for this type of stuff. They're letting bloody dangerous people out on bail. So he was out on bail for raping a kid, this 18-year-old arsehole, and he's murdered someone, stabbed them to death. Tell you what should happen to that magistrate or judge, whatever it was who gave him bail, they should be bloody in prison themselves. Tell you what, it's got to stop. It's got to stop. And we need to go to one Commonwealth Criminal Code and one Penalties and Sentences Act, because there's too many different rules. And the states, the justice system in the states, and I've seen it firsthand, is weak as piss, everyone. I used to sit there in trials and just listen to the defence lawyers water everything down, and then the judge would just sit there and give the minimum sentence every time. Unless they went down for murder, it was compulsory life imprisonment, which in Queensland now is 20 years for a single murder, 25 for a cop, or 30 if it's a double or triple murder. You'll get 30 years minimum before you're eligible for parole. We need to stiffen up our justice system. Here we go, another poll for you. Start a poll. Is our piss week? It didn't work. Create a poll. Ask it. I think this will be 100% for sure. Is our justice system piss weak? It is. I've seen it firsthand when I was a creator, sitting in on trials and that, guys. I used to just sit there and almost vomit in my own mouth, listening to some of the shit that came out of defence lawyers' mouths, and you just see that the judge would sit there and take it all in, and the prosecutors, DPP, Department of Public Prosecutions, they didn't push hard enough. I used to feel like sitting up saying to the friggin' prosecutors during a piss break or whatever and go, come on, stop letting the defence lawyers sit there and get all their own way with the judge. They didn't care. They were getting paid. They didn't really care. They didn't care what the outcome was. If they lost the case, who cares? I'm still getting paid. Put a bit of bloody effort in. And if there's a shitbagging thing and they deserve to go to jail, put in 110%, put the pricks behind, and then not only get a guilty verdict, but when it comes to the sentencing, which might be a week later or whatever, go hard on the sentencing and say, no, this is not on. But the judges always used to go down to the defence would go, I think he should get 3 years. Prosecutions go, he should get 9 years. And he'd get 3 years. Every time. They'd always go to the low end of the scale. It pissed me off. That's another thing that pissed me off. Tell you what, there's a senator out there, the upcoming elections, called Jared Rennick, and he's teaming up with the Katter Party. This guy is a very, very cluey man when it comes to finances, taxes, and all that. Senator Jared Rennick, guys, he's getting up and he's saying, why is a country as rich as Australia $1 trillion in the hole? And he's coming up and saying, this is how we reverse our thing. Go and have a look at some of the things. He's on YouTube, Jared Rennick. I'll tell you what, he's a very, very cluey guy. And he's the type of bloke that the prime ministers need to get on side and go, hey, mate, you got some really good ideas to get us out of financial shit, and how to, he's how to target, get better tax money without hitting the average Joe. And he's got ways to do it. Jared Rennick, and apparently he's teaming up with the Katter Party, guys. He's got some really good ideas. He really has. He's a smart man. Hey, some good news. Brett from SMG, everyone. He owns a horse. Well, he owns a bit of a horse, probably the tail or something. His horse had a win down in Melbourne on the weekend. His horse has had a win, so Brett was over the moon. Yeah. Hey, the Sikhs. My town's got a lot of Indians, guys, as in from the country of India. There's Sikhs and there's also normal Indian people. A lot of them own businesses here, banana farms and all that type of stuff. They're good people. The Sikhs, they're the ones that wear the turbans, guys. I tell you now, Every ANZAC Day, the Sikhs are out there at the ANZAC March here in town, handing out bottles of water to the crowd when they're watching the marches. They just, you know how I say immigration, you're to assimilate into Australian society? Well, the Sikhs do here, and I'm sure they do it in all the different countries. They're good people, everyone. And I tell you what, the Sikhs were there at Gallipoli with us, if you didn't know that. The ones that were the Sikhs were at Gallipoli with the Aussies and Kiwis. And here they are on ANZAC Day. It means a lot to them as well, because they were there with us. The Indian Sikhs, handing bottles of water out after the big floods here earlier in the year. Guess what? All the houses and the people that got flooded here in town, in certain parts of this town, the Sikhs got into the kitchens and cooked up hundreds of meals to go out and give them to the people who were affected by floods, who had to get out of their house, or probably their houses lost electricity. The Sikhs were providing meals and that to them. That's what assimilating into Australian society means for people that immigrate to this country. It's good I want to give them a shout out. A lot of people are very anti-immigration, but when you get people like that, every year they're being part of ANZAC Day and that. It's really good to see. I identify as a bookworm, slacking reckons. So, horse's name, I don't know, Aussie. I'll have to find out off Brett. Hang on, I'll try and find out. I'll send him a quick message. Brett, send a message. What is your horse's name? People on the live feed want to know. I don't think Brett's in there. It picked up the last bit too. So we'll see if Brett gets back to me, and you can get some money on it. But it actually won on the weekend, so Brett's over the moon there. Graham Rose saying the Sikhs are tops. I've been watching the comments, everyone, but I will now. If you've got any questions on that or any comments you want to put in, let me know. Very friendly people. Yeah, Dwayne. Inderjit Singh, his name is. He works at Harvey Norman. I knew Inderjit when I was a copper. I've known him for over 20 years, Inderjit. Every time I walk into Harvey Norman, he's there. I see his big. I look for his turban because he gives me a good discount. And Dave, he's the owner of Harvey Norman here in town. And I go to Dave one day. I said, "How much can you get off this?" I don't know what I was buying. What was I buying? I was buying TV or something. I said, "Dave, how much bloody discount can you give me on this?" He goes, "Go and see Inderjit." He goes, "He can do a better discount than me." And he said, "I own the friggin' store." So I don't know how Inderjit, he said, "I don't know how he does it. He works on a committee, but Inderjit gives a better discount than what I do, and I own the store." So he said, "Go and see Inderjit." And he does. He always looks after me, Inderjit, every time, whether I'm buying a bloody HDMI cable or a TV. Inderjit always looks after me. Inderjit Singh, and he's a bloody top bloke, and he's part of the Sikh community. And they're really, really good people. Even the other Indians that aren't Sikh, your normal mainstream Indians, just good people, guys. Well, they stick to themselves, but they don't cause any problems. It's we're a very multicultural town here. A lot of white people, a lot of Indigenous people, a lot of Indian people. We've got Sikhs and normal Indian people, of whatever they're called. And we've also got a lot of guys from Vanuatu here, guys. What was that? Someone's binged me. A lot of Vanuatu people here now, male and female, working on the banana farms. And as part of this, Australia's got a thing with the Pacific nations that we bring Pacific Islanders in, Fijians and all that, to work on the farms and all that. And it's helping us out because Aussies are too bloody lazy to go and hump bananas. All right, so they bring the Vanuatu people over. They get paid really well, and they get to send a lot of their money back home. You always see them on Friday in the post office and the banks and that, Telegram and however they send their money back home to their families and that. So it's providing good money for them. And you always see them in the hardware shops and Coles and Woolies, and they're bloody spending money in town. Saw one buying a generator the other day, some Vanuatu people buying a generator, and the bloke in the hardware shop said, yeah, he said they buy a lot of stuff here and send it home or take it home with them because they can't get it back home. generators and hand tools to build their huts and all that type of stuff. So it's fantastic. So a lot of Vanuatu people, they stick to themselves too. They speak their own language, whatever they speak, some Pacific Island language. I know there's a lot of Fijians down south, working down south, and when the big floods were hitting New South Wales, a lot of the Fijians were there helping with flood relief and all that type of stuff. Yeah. Nikki Slade said, my mother's great uncle was killed in Singapore by the Japs. Yeah, that's one of the biggest. How 20,000 soldiers just surrendered in Singapore to the Japs? Why didn't they have a crack? The British and the Australians and that. The British said, oh, the Japs are coming down the peninsula, we're just going to surrender. What happened to them? Most of them were either executed or died on the Burma Railway. At least go down swinging. Like, I guess they didn't know. They probably thought, oh, we'll just get taken prisoner and whatever. But, 20,000 soldiers just surrendering. Come on. Have a go. That was the biggest disgrace in World War II, I think, was that surrender in Singapore. Anyway. Yeah, Graham Rose saying after the 2022 floods, the Sikhs brought food around. That's what they do, mate. They're good people. And they really adopt the Aussie spirit. And I think Anzac Day means a lot to them too, because the Sikhs were over in Gallipoli fighting on our side. Okay? We fought beside the Indians a lot in wars. We don't hear a lot about it, guys, but they were there at Gallipoli with the Aussies and the Kiwis. And Anzac Day means a lot to them. Out there handing out bottles of water. They do it every year here. Oh, it's fantastic, isn't it? Try that discount code at my service station. No was the answer. The Mr. Buck 8 at the servo. I reckon every servo in Australia should do the Mr. Buck 8 discount code. What do you reckon? Arsehole. Tell him, Newey. Buck said you're a pack of arseholes for not doing his Mr. Buck 8 discount code. Tell you what, I'm getting a few emails through from Lead Time. Every time someone uses the Mr. Buck 8 discount code, I get an email saying, someone used your discount code and we made a $900 sale or whatever. So it's good, guys. If you're in the market for a lithium battery, have a look at Lead Time. And they got a lot of different types of lithium batteries there. Little ones up to your real big ones, 24 volt, 48 volt, and you can use Mr. Buck 8 discount code. I don't get anything out of it, but you guys do, which is good. Slacken said, also be building up Agatha Christie's. I cannot read, everyone. I'll rephrase that. I hate reading. I can read, but I hate it. I hate reading books. I absolutely hate reading books. I've got an audio book at the moment. It's called 11 Bats, and it's from a bloke I knew in the army, me and Beaker. Anthony Moffat, mate, Moff, deployed overseas 11 times, and each time he took a cricket bat over. It's a incredible bloody playing cricket against the Taliban and shit. Yeah. Does anyone remember when I was a kid, you'd pull up at a service station, a servo, Dad would fill the car up, and you'd always have your bottles of oil, your pint and half pints of oil there. So you could throw some oil in, because back then cars used to chew oil. So you'd always have a full pint and a half pint. Or was it? Yeah, a big bottle and a little bottle of motor oil. So you could throw them in your, I don't know, people used to just throw any oil in their diesel or petrol. I don't think it mattered. But there was also those blow-up things that you used to be able to hit and they'd bounce back up. Does anyone remember that? And I'd always go, oh, I want one of them. So Dad would always go, oh, friggin' hell, so he'd buy me one. They had a weight in the bottom of it. They'll blow up, and they were like a figurine, and they had a weight in the bottom, and you'd punch them in the head, and they'd go down, and then they'd pop back up again. So you could use them for boxing training. That's the shit. That's going back into the 60s and 70s. Does anyone... BP Smurfs, yeah. Yeah, Phil Taylor, 1 litre and 500 ml bottles. That's right. Does anyone remember the things you could punch, the blow-up things? And they were always at servos because they knew the kids were in the back of the car, and they'd always go, I want one of them, I want one of them things. And I had a couple of them. They'd always, you'd puncture them. Dad'd have to buy another one when he went to the servo next. So I still remember the good old days, eh? They were the good old days when every service station had a mechanic there. And if you have an engine, you could go and ask the mechanic. One of my first jobs when I was in Warwick in grade 9 and that, I used to, back when servos used to fill cars up, and that was my job. Go out and fill cars up. And you had a little leather thing around your waist, because back then there was no FPOS and that. I'm talking about the 70s, the late 70s, and people paid in cash. So I'd go out there, how you going? People didn't have to get out of their car. Back when fuel bowsers, you could actually keep them on, put the little thing, the clip on, and keep them on. So you'd say, hey, fill her up, mate. So you'd undo their cap, put the thing in, turn it on, leave it on, like put the little clip on. So, and then while you were doing that, you'd say, how's your oil? And they go, oh, yeah, can you check it? So they pop their bonnet would go up, and you check their dipstick, and you'd always go, you're a bit low, mate. That's because the oil's still up in around the engine. So you throw a half litre or a litre bottle in for them and probably overfill it. So you'd always put some oil in, and then you'd clean their windscreen. I used to clean their windscreen while she was filling up, clean their windscreen, check their oil, pop their bonnet down, go back, top it up, and then go. That'll be, back in those days, $20 or whatever to fill your car up. They're gone are those days. $20, and they give you 20. They give you a bloody lobster. Throw it in your little leather pouch, or if they give you 50, you give them $30 back. There you through. Didn't even have to get out of their car, and that was the good old days, the absolute good old days. That was my first job, was filling up at a servo, because back then servos had driveway attendants. That's what I was. I was a driveway attendant at a service station, and I used to fill cars up, check their oil, clean their windscreen, pump their tyres up if they asked, get the thing, pump their tyres up. That's why it was called a service station. You used to serve them. They're just, all you do now is go in, there's some Sheila behind the counter or a bloke, and then they go, oh, that's $160 to fill your BT50 up, and do you want 18 chocolate bars to go with that? And you go, stick your chocolate bars in your ass. I don't want them. Just the fuel's enough, thanks. And you pay for your fuel and out you walk. Servos now, all they are is just a bloody place to chips and chocolates and rip you off for your fuel. Back in my day, it was a service station, guys. You got served. You drove in. I remember when I was in the army in Townsville, it was still in the early 90s, 91 to 93. It was a 103 Signal Squadron. There was a servo still in Townsville, and it was some Italian or Greek brothers used to own it. And they still came out and filled it up. And this is before FPOS as well. And you paid in cash. They come out, hey, mate, fill her up. Thanks, mate. You'll be on your way to work. Fill it up. Yeah, $50. Here you go. And they'd have a little leather thing, give you your change. See you, mate. You want your windscreen done? It was called a service station. You actually got served, and you actually looked after people's cars. Does anyone remember? I'm sure some of you do. Mike Blakely, in the state of Oregon, it is illegal for the driver to fill up their own car. Wow. In the state of Oregon, it is illegal for the driver to fill their own car up. Well, there you go, Mike. John's over there, John Bean, guys. He's from Oregon, so John will be able to confirm that if he sees this. The Yanks, I'll tell you one thing, Mike, that you guys get, when we pull up now at a servo, we get out, fill our car up or put $50 worth in, whatever. Then we walk into and pay for it. Apparently in America, the Americans come over here. I've seen them on YouTube go, one thing I can't, the Aussies, they're so trustworthy. They actually fill their car up and then they go in and pay for it. Well, yeah, we do, because if you drive off, and people do drive offs, it's all cameraed. Your rego gets taken and the cops do you for stealing. So, yeah, the servo might miss out, but the cops will catch up with you and charge you for stealing. Okay, so that's why we do it, Mike. We just walk out, fill our car up, walk in, tap our card now. No one uses cash anymore. And then buy a bloody coffee, a chocolate bar or whatever, and walk out. That's how we do the servos here. But yeah, they were the good old days, Mike. And as I said, Oregon, it's illegal to fill your own car up. I wonder, is it because people are doing drive-offs and that, mate? I don't know. Slacken saying, Mike, are you serious? So obviously, how do you do it in Canada, Mark? Is it like Australia, mate? You just fill your car up and go in and pay for it, or do you have to? We have service stations here, guys, 24 hour in country towns and that may be unmanned. So you've got to put your credit card in first and then fill up. They're the unmanned ones. You see them out in West Queensland. That's some unmanned servos where you actually tap your card, fill up, and then it takes the money out of your card. But most servos have someone in there serving. You fill your own car up, go in and pay for your food, for your fuel, and a lot of the times grab a coffee, a pie, Mars bar or something like that, and out you go. The Shell here, Pete Donlan saying the Shell on Warburton Street near the Strand still does driveway service. Wow, there you go, mate. There you go. Not many of them around anymore, is there? And that was a great job for kids at school. I was one of them. On your school holidays, you went and worked at a survey. You're going, hey, do you want me to pump fuel for you? Yeah, young fella. Get about $5 an hour or whatever it was. It was good money back then. Filling up cars, checking their oil, and then checking their, not their wheeler, checking their tyre pressure. Just little basic things like that. Imagine young kids now doing that, young boys. They'll go, oh, how do I do that on the PlayStation or whatever? Back in my day, you rode your BMX bike to the servo. You did a bloody 6-hour shift, filling cars up, got paid $10 or whatever, which was good coin. And you go to the fish and chip shop and shared all your mates' bloody fish and chips and potato scallops and stuff. They're the good old days, eh? Buck, where's the neat? No, she's gone off, mate. I was only powering it. I'll show you why it went off. I was only running it off a little one of those. So it obviously, that's all I was powering off is the small kick-ass torch, which is a power bank. Last week I bought the actual battery box in from the shed with a 120 amp hour lithium battery in it. So next week, if I do it, I was going to run this in the shed, guys. It didn't work, sorry. I was going to do a shed one today. It turned to shit. I couldn't work out Roz's iPad. Something to do with the screen orientation. So I swiped down, orientation off, and it still wasn't working. So anyway, go the Cowboys. What a great ANZAC Day ceremony at the Cowboys. That was, that was really, really good there. I love hearing that minute silence, and it wasn't a 10-second minute. It was a full minute silence, and not, you could have heard a pin drop in Townsville at the Cowboys game last night. That town is very, very pro-military, guys, pro-ANZAC, as a lot of them were. They were all good with the footy, and I'm sure the Aussie rules is the same as well. But unfortunately, ANZAC Day got soured this year with the booing of the welcome to country. We went through that this morning. I did a poll. It's 100%. What was it? Is our justice system piss weak? 100% said yes. There you go. There you go. End poll. We all know it is. It needs to be addressed. Why isn't anyone addressing it? Why is no one addressing it? Why is Chris Footy here in Queensland not addressing our? He's going, oh, I'm going to stiffen it. No one's addressed it. They need to tie the hands of. They need to start doing some minimum mandatory sentencing and take the power out of the judge's hands to give no punishment at all, or a piss weak punishment. Unbelievable. Who got a suspended sentence the other day? Someone got a suspended sentence. Who was that? Oh, I'll tell you who. Someone just went to jail. I don't know if it was a sports star. I should have written that down. I can't remember now. But anyway, slacking. I was a gas station attendant when I was 18. There you go. Yeah, you don't see much of it anymore, Mark. It's a thing of the past. As said, Beaker said there's still one in Townsville somewhere on Warburton Street. Russ, you have to go and check him out. Minnie Mouse, Jenny, I went into a servo on my trip home. My son also went in and bought some things. I spent about $120, thought I took the fuel too, but didn't. I got a text from police and paid over the phone. Whoops. Yeah. I had one when I was a copper once. I had to go and chase someone up for a drive-off for fuel. And I tell you what, Roz and I nearly did it once too. Yeah, both go in, you think, oh, Roz has paid for the fuel. She thinks I've paid for it. That's what happened with someone here in Innisfail. The husband and wife both thought each other had paid for the fuel, walked out, got in the car, thinking each other had paid for the fuel, and they hadn't. Anyway, the survey got on. I went around, and she was working in a pharmacy from memory. I walked into the pharmacy and said, you own this car, rego number? Yeah. I said, you get fuel a couple of days ago? Yeah, we did. I said, you didn't pay for the fuel. She goes, oh, my husband did. I said, no, he didn't. She goes, oh. Anyway, it was just an honest mistake. And as I said, you can bloody pay over the phone now. So, yeah, sometimes it is an honest mistake, and I've seen it happen. But some people just get in and drive off as well. Put some false plates on the car, go in, fill up, drive off, and then take the false plates off. So how do you ever chase that one up? But yeah. But in America, they don't do that. Apparently, filling your own car up and going in to pay after you filled up they don't trust anyone over there, apparently. All right, guys, I've been on for an hour 50. Let's go for 2. What do you reckon? Can't buy a fan belt. Stopped at a servo, 3 servos Easter weekend, none had air. That's another thing that pisses me off too, Pete. I went to 3 servos in Townsville one day to check Mum's tyres. Every time I go down, Mum goes, Paul, can you go and check my car tyres? She's got a little Mazda 2 now. 3 servos, the air hose was not working, just not working at all. So that's another thing that pisses me off. Lots of things piss me off. Air hoses at the servos not working. So it's good when you get one and it's in good condition. But people bloody leave the hose out, and then another car comes in, runs over the hose, and no one looks after it. You know what it's like. It's not mine. I'm not going to look after it. Just the way it. I always, if I do my tyres at a servo, I always make sure at the end I bloody roll the hose up, put it back on the thing so it doesn't get damaged in that. But that's just me. Only 2 hours. Yeah, I know, Mark. I've got things to do, places to be. Brad Howell, we never sold fuel. No, Brad just had a workshop there. How are you, Bradley? Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're well. Hope everything's going good. Brad would have remembered the days. Did anyone who I'm going to put a who remembers yeah, that's right. Who remembers the punching things at the servo? I'll explain. Used to go in, they'd all be there at the petrol houses, and they were like a blow-up thing with a face on them, and they had a weight in the bottom. So when you punched them in the head, they'd spring back up. Who remembers them? Does anyone remember those punchy things at the servo? And you used to be able to buy them. Mum and Dad would go, oh, not another one. I used to love them. You could punch shit out of them, and it was like they keep bouncing back up. You don't see them anymore. You do not see those things anymore. Mike Blakely saying 2 down, 2 to go. No, not today, Mike. 58% remember it. So anyone my age or older will remember those things. Brad, do you remember them? I don't know what they were called. They're just called punchy things. Brad saying my punchy thing was called my brother. Yeah. Oh, dear. Toddy, Pump Koala. Mr. Gaspo was from CIG. That one went over my head, Toddy. I'm not quite sure. Slacken does. Did you get them over in Canada? Mike, what about you? You're my age. Did you have those punchy things over at the servos in Colorado? Or was it just an Aussie thing? Oliver family. I always see young kids stealing bait from the freezers out the front of the servo. They load their bags with 9 bags of bait and go in and pay for one. Little turds. That bait's not cheap, eh? That tweed bait that you buy from the thing. Some servos, if you want to buy firewood, a lot of servos all sell firewood now, bags of firewood and gas bottles. And it's You just about get everything there now, can't you? Can I get a bag of firewood? They give you a key. Go out, unlock it, grab 2 bags, give them back the key. You usually pay for your firewood and that. Yeah, but they lock it up, and that's probably why a lot of them put their bait freezers, their bait freezers inside, Tommy, so the kids can't steal it all from outside. That's probably a bad tactical move there, leaving the bait fridges out the front of the servo. So imagine the young kids on the Gold Coast, they're all into their fishing. They all love their fishing. And that tweed bait is not cheap. It's not cheap. So there you go. Ice is expensive. Yeah, it's going up, isn't it? Getting a bag of ice and all that. Better to get three for deal. Nikki said they were called inflatable boppers. Yeah, because you used to bop them in the head and they'd fall over and then they'd spring back up again. So like a punching bag thing. Yeah. Tell what we had over at the SAS regiment. They had a pretty groovy indoor range. When you maybe have the MP5s, they're little robots that used to whiz around, and you go bang, bang, double tap it, and it deflate, and then it inflate again. It was pretty cool. Some of the stuff they had over there, and it used to be able to come up, double tap, and it deflate, then it inflate again. And they had a lot of good stuff like that over there. Yeah, tweed bait is rubbish. Yeah, it is. Falls apart before it even defrosts. Yeah, it's pretty shitty stuff, isn't it? I guess the best thing to do is catch your own bait. I get good squid from it's like the stuff you can actually crumb up and eat. I like using the nice big squid. You get nice big rings and that. Ross is an old squidder, guys. Everything she does is squid. And she always did better than me, which isn't hard to do. So, no, Mike Blakely said they never had those punching things at the servos in Colorado. It might have been an Aussie thing. Slacken, did you say that you used to get them in Canada? 57% of you remember those punchy things at the servos. I'd forgotten what made me remember them. I think it was the old days when I used to be a driveway attendant as a young high school kid, grade 8 and 9, filling up cars back in the days when you only used cash, check their oil, check their tyre pressure, clean their windscreen for them. That's where the name service station came from, because you also, just about every servo had a mechanical workshop there, and you could get your car serviced there too if you wanted to. Those days are gone now, eh? Just about every servo had a bloody mechanic there. And if you're having a bit of trouble, the mechanic would go, yeah, mate, oh, yeah, you just need a new radiator hose or whatever. So there was always a mechanic on hand too at a lot of the servos back in the day. It's all changing now, eh? If you went fishing with Buck and caught a cold, you'd catch more than him. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I can't remember the last time I threw. Tell you where I will be fishing is up in Cooktown soon, guys. Roz and I are heading up to Cooktown in a week, and I will be fishing off the jetty there because Elvin from the Adventuring Pals, him and his boys caught some good fish off that thing. So, and there's Powers reading up, there's a couple of big crocs getting around off the wharf in Cooktown at the moment. So Rafa will be going nowhere near the water, nowhere near it, up there around Cooktown in the Endeavour River. So I'm going to take the GoPro up, show you a bit of Cooktown, guys. Talk about history. That town is full of it. That town is full of it. That's where Lieutenant, and he's called Lieutenant because he was in the Navy. Lieutenant, he wasn't Captain Cook at the time, Lieutenant James Cook. They hit the reef off Cooktown, jettisoned the cannon overboard and a big anchor and all that, which is now in the Cooktown Museum. And they came up the Endeavour River and did repairs to it in the Endeavour River. And there's a monument there and says, this is the exact spot the Endeavour was when James Cook brought it in. So there's a lot of history there, eh? Jigging for squid is good fun. Yeah, it is. Squid jigging's good fun. We did a lot of that off the jetty at Seisha when we went up Cape York and that, do some squid jigging, catch a squid, and then you can use them as bait. Or jig for get the little shiny hooks and the little herrings and that. You use one of them as live bait. So everything's live bait up around there for sure. All right, guys, I'm going to go. Might have another coffee, a sugarless coffee. It's not as nice with no sugar in it. Brent Neal saying Cooktown for me in July. Anyway, guys, hope you've enjoyed the live feed this morning. It was supposed to be out of the shed. I've got to sort out that. I don't know what happened there. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to put it on Facebook, everyone, and announce the winner of the 2 tickets to that 4-wheel drive show that Jean's got. I'll do it. I'll do a little video of me pulling out, and I'll put it up on Facebook, and then I'll get Jean to get in touch with you. Okay. Sorry, I should have had me. Prior preparation prevents a piss poor performance. As I keep saying, I've got to practice what I preach. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone. Couple of good footy games on this afternoon. The Raiders and the Dolphins. Really looking forward to that one. Can't wait to see me mate. Hopefully Dicko will lead the Raiders out onto the field for ANZAC Day. So that'll be good. I'll be proud of it, seeing Dicko lead the boys out. But I will be going for the Dolphins. So will Roz. And then the later game is the West Tigers up against the Sharks. So, but that Raiders-Dolphins game, that should be an absolute beauty. Slacken saying goodbye. Yeah, Debbie, see you, everyone. Jenny and Minnie Mouse, the caravan. I keep getting that mixed up. Steve Dyson saying goodbye. Mike Blakely, thanks for tuning in again, mate. Slacken, anyone else who was from overseas, thanks for tuning in. As I said, a little bit controversial, wasn't it? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if there's any welcome to countries next ANZAC Day. I think you'd be a brave RSL to do it. And as I said, if you've got a problem with it, go and speak to your local RSL. They're the ones who do it. They're the ones who organise ANZAC Day, everyone. And remember Bruce Ruxton used to be the boss of the RSL down in Victoria? Yeah, even if you don't agree with it, there's no place to be yelling out during a dawn service. That is not on. That is putrid. Absolutely not on. Whether you agree with it or not, keep your mouth shut. They had other avenues. Go and see the RSL afterwards and put in your complaints there, because they are the ones who would have had old bloody Uncle Colin turn up to do the welcome to country. He didn't just jump on stage and do it. He was invited there, everyone. Just remember that. I don't think he should have been there. That's the RSL's problem. They need to sort it out. All right. See you later, eh? Enjoy the rest of your weekend. See ya. See ya, Lukey Reed.